3. Hi! Welcome back to another episode of Boss Ravioli Queens. I am Jasmine the Queen. The other girls weren't ready, so I just started the video anyway.
Bitch, I was ready.
Well, you were. This one wasn't. Anyways, the
we
name
never
of
have
this...
to wait for you for.
Oh my God! Now look
anything,
who's interrupting.
Right. We don't have to wait for you for anything ever. Never ever.
No, never. Anyways, this episode is called Struggle Bussin. We're gonna talk about the issues when it comes to daycare.
This is me the entire episode today.
Right, daycare and what else?
Daycare and just the lack of resources and
Lack of
training
training.
and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. If you haven't noticed, I just got home from work.
Okay, so we need to say something. We forgot that it was our 50th episode in the last episode. Whoops. So happy 51st, guys. Yay.
That's the one after 50, so it's better.
We're over hump day.
Oh yeah, also happy hump day.
Oh Lord. Okay, anyways, do you want to start? You're the one who has the child in daycare.
Yeah. So I think I've talked about this like a little bit, but my son is special needs. He has very severe ADHD. He's in 4K. He has an IEP for school. If you don't know what that is, it's an individualized education plan. And he's in daycare as well. And let me tell you, this is not like anyone specific. It's just like the daycare industry as a whole. They don't know how to take care of kids with special needs. They just don't. Unless it's something that they've experienced themselves or they've had like multiple children in their classroom throughout the years that have had ADHD or another disability.
Or honestly, if they come from like a healthcare background already and then do
Right.
childcare instead.
Right. Like it's the lack of training and resources is just wild to me.
It is crazy because actually, now that I think about it, I've had some friends that like they're just like, oh, I work at a daycare now or whatever, and it's like people that I know that are like, you shouldn't be, but good for you, I guess.
Like, okay, so my son had an appointment today for his medication, and his doctor was going over, you know, what to do when he gets like super escalated, and she was basically saying like primitive brain and like our thinking brain, and she was like, you know, when you're so escalated, your primitive brain switches on and you thinking brain kind of just leaves. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, I basically just, when he's like that, I think of him as one of my residents. And like I just go into like crisis and de-escalation mode, like just making sure you're in a calm space, he's safe, and we'll talk once he's out of it, because you're not thinking when you're like that. And she was like, oh, good, okay, so you know. And I was like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. And so it's just like that's second nature to me, and it's crazy for me to think about, like, not everyone's like that. Not everyone knows how to handle things like that. And I forget that because I've been doing this for so long, not only in my professional life, but also in my personal life with like my own mental health issues and stuff. I just forget that people don't know how to do that.
I know. Like, there's a lot of things healthcare related that like I know that a lot of other people don't know. Like people that don't work in the field, they don't know the same things that we know. And I think, like, for me, that's just crazy to me. I'm like, it's mind-blowing. How do you not know that? But then again, you don't work in healthcare, so I get it.
And to me, like, childcare and healthcare are so similar. Mm-hmm. To me, it makes total sense. How can you not? Like, if you work in a childcare, how could you not, or daycare, I mean, how could you not receive the same types of training?
Right.
Jinx.
So I don't know what it's like for all states, obviously, but I was just having this conversation the other day where we're at. Our state doesn't require, they do require continued education go take a listen because we made an episode about that. But
We did.
they don't require it for specific disabilities. And that is insane to me because our state requires it for specific disabilities. You have to take so many different like training modules on autism and dementia and like all these different things.
We literally have like a generalized behavior training, but then it goes more in depth to each disability.
Yep. It's just wild to me.
Yeah, it does.
Like you're going to encounter children from all walks of life. Just because they're young doesn't mean that they're too young to have disabilities.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that is just wild to me.
I feel like a lot of there's like some parents out there that I feel like are just so ignorant about it that like they just want to believe that their child's normal all the time. They don't really like look into like if they have anxiety, if they have ADHD, if they have anything, and they just want to assume they're normal. And then those are the kids that like end up growing up like feeling so different from everybody else, not knowing what's wrong. Yeah, they can't figure out why until they finally like go like ask some questions about it, and then other people are finally like, oh well, you probably have this or this. They're like, well, my parents never told me that.
So yeah, I mean, I totally like 100% agree with that. I was told my whole life like, oh, you're just unique, you're just this, you're just that. And I was always put into like this really negative box. And for a really, really long time, I like my symptoms of ADHD that like looking back were obvious. I was always just told those were like personality flaws.
Yeah.
And like people used to make fun of me all the time, like when I would forget things and be like, oh my God, you always forget stuff. Like, yeah, I do. That's kind of a problem.
Oh, you're such an airhead.
Right. Yeah, you're such an airhead. Haha. But now
I forget things all the time. I don't even remember your names right now.
That joke's a little tired. I think you said that last episode.
Still works.
Well, there's no cure for bitch, though.
It's true. There is no cure.
But anyway, so
Here, let me put my other head on.
it's like those types of things are just that in itself is like so traumatic, you know, like just and teachers. Oh my God, teachers used to laugh at me all the time when I would forget stuff, and it's like, thinking about it now, it's crazy because I was a literal child. And it's like you can't.
But that's the other thing is they chalk it up to like, oh, their brain's still growing, they're still a kid, like it'll get better, stuff like that.
Teachers would like get like upset with me when I couldn't like pick up on something either. Like when they were, it was like it seemed like so easy for everybody else, and I just like couldn't understand it for some reason. And I would like ask for like that extra help, and it just didn't make sense in my head to me. And then they would just like write it off basically.
Yeah.
I had some shitty teachers.
That's something that I struggle with too. Even now, like there are some concepts that you can explain the whole thing to me, and my brain is just like locking it out. It's like, nope, I refuse to understand this.
Yeah. We're aware.
I don't know. It just happens to me sometimes. It's true.
It is true.
Damn. You know, I'm really not equipped to go this hard today. I'm not.
Over here laughing because you know I'm right.
That's okay.
She knows.
I mean, I wouldn't say it if I didn't, so.
That's true.
I'm aware.
We all admit when we have things that go on.
I always say my secret talent is I can stare you in the face while you tell me your name and I already forgot it.
You literally told me that when I met you.
I know.
Wait, which time? The time that you thought was the first time?
No, at the job.
I tell people that all the time because patients will come in and remember me, and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I'm like, they'll like act like we're old buddies, and I've probably seen them like 5 times and still don't know who they are.
Okay, so this happens so often where someone will come up to Jasmine and just start like talking like they're such good friends.
That
And
literally happened the other day.
I know, and she'll play along and she'll laugh with them, and then they walk away, and she's like,
I have no idea who that was.
It literally happened. We were out at the bar and somebody was talking to me and I was like, oh hey, and I like recognized their face, but like I didn't really know them that well.
they're like,
Oh, was
is
that this
that
last
Jasmine?
Yeah, and then boss lady Amy over here was just like, who was that? I'm like, I don't know.
I didn't get to share in the experience because I just got over COVID.
Yeah, she had the vid.
I still kind of have it.
Cute.
Not contagious anymore though. Tested positive.
You mean
You
negative?
negative?
I was gonna say, if you're positive right now, I need to leave.
God
damn it!
COVID brain fog on top of regular brain fog, y'all. That's what it does.
At least you didn't lose your taste.
Or sense of smell. Dude, that sucked. That sucked so bad.
At least you didn't have the thing that happened to me, where my mouth got all fucky and it made everything taste really gross for a
Like
while.
dirt?
Yeah, okay, so we're way off. We'll get back in a second, but I need to explain this. So when I had COVID, for like a good month and a half, 2 months afterwards, anytime I ate anything like natural, so like fruit or vegetables or whatever.
You said even orange juice.
Yeah, oh my god, orange
That's
juice was
fucking
disgusting.
nuts to me.
So
That's crazy.
anything that has even like the tiniest bit of like earthy taste, anything that comes from the earth, it amplified it so much and made it taste like dirt and mold, and it was horrible. And I will never forget drinking orange juice, and I just remember it like going down my throat, and it burned so bad from the taste.
Ew.
And it made everything taste like super extra acidic too.
Ugh.
It was horrible. It lasted for like 2 months. It was so nasty.
Disgusting.
I remember like being on the phone with you talking about that.
Yes.
You were like, girl, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I remember I was working a knock shift. I had just come back after having COVID, and we were on the phone because she was also working knocks.
Oh, that was that time
And
period.
I
It
remember
sure was.
I had a fruit cup and I had a big cup of orange juice, and I'm like trying to eat it, and every bite I'm just like gagging, and I was like, dude, I don't know what's wrong with me. Every bite. And then I
I
tried.
know exactly what you just did.
What?
No,
Oh, she's just over there being a bitch. It's fine.
no. You go
Oh.
ahead.
Oh.
Finish your story.
Okay, she's either being a bitch or she's being nasty.
No,
so-
I was just checking something.
Okay. Whatever. It's one of those things. Anyway. So
Anywho.
I remember I had this big cup, and I was so mad because I took like a few sips and I threw the whole thing in the garbage. I could not finish it. It was disgusting.
That's so gross.
And I was so sad about it too because I love orange juice.
I too love me some orange juice.
Some.
I said some orange juice.
I know, but I was thinking about that episode from that 70s show where Kitty calls orange juice Tang. And she won't call it anything else, and they keep laughing at her, and she doesn't know why.
That is a good episode. Anyways, back to childcare and people not knowing shit about what they're doing.
So, yeah, as we're talking about ADHD. Huh?
Yo.
Give the same energy as bacitracin.
Bacitracin.
It was Bacitracin.
Yeah, I say bacitracin.
Instead of bacitracin.
Bacitracin. You know, that's still, like, see, that's one of those things where I see it spelled out and my brain's like, no,
Wait.
that's wrong. Bacitracin.
We're going to off track this a little bit yet. Acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
Okay, I hate it when people say acetaminophen or whatever the fuck they say.
The British say it like acetaminophen.
My favorite is when I work with people in healthcare that like
say something wrong.
They say acetaminophen, but they don't realize it's the same thing as Tylenol.
Oh yeah, no, can't do it. Can't do it.
It was really funny. I had that at a job one time because my boss was like, "Oh, can you tell the night shift that acetaminophen and Tylenol are the same thing?" And I'm like, "Seriously?" She's like, "Yeah. Why is he passing meds?" I'm like,
That's wild.
Also, I don't know why they put him on night shift because he didn't know that, and he was also a diabetic.
Oh.
Not that like diabetics can't work night shift, but
it
it'd
fucks
be
with their
more
shit.
Be more dangerous if they don't take care of themselves. So.
No, but for real, like if you have wonky sleep hours and stuff, that really messes with your diabetes.
What happens if he passes out?
Right, if their blood sugar gets too
There's
low.
nobody taking care of people then.
And
he's
also,
the only one there.
Right.
That is also why I believe that no house should ever be single staffed. Because
even on night shift.
Does no one care about backup plans anymore? Like
Right.
what happens when something happens to the one person that
or
you
what
have on
happens
shift?
when the crazy resident beats the crap out of you?
Yeah.
Been there.
Mm-hmm. And you're by yourself. Now what? You're asphyxiating and bleeding out on the floor. And then now what? Are you gonna hope another resident wanders out and knows how to dial 911? Because I doubt it. And even if they did, they probably wouldn't call it anyway.
It's debatable. Depending on the house.
I was gonna say
on the residents.
Depends on who lives there. Though.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Anyway, back to children.
Anyway.
We went to a whole lot of different slides
We-
that time.
We did. I'm just trying to think. So, like, okay, so for when you're a caregiver, you're taught crisis and de-escalation.
Mm-hmm.
You're taught how to deal with like physical behaviors.
Mhm.
You're taught the ins and outs of the most common disabilities you'll be working with.
Mhm.
It's just wild to me. Like, it's a pretty wide variety of stuff that
Very.
you're taught.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why does it not transfer over to daycare?
Childcare should absolutely be the same because essentially it's the same job. You're just
Right.
caring for tiny humans instead of full-grown adults,
You
which
know,
is almost worse, actually.
I'm also wondering. I'm like, I don't know how much they teach for like even teachers in like schools and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the special education teachers.
The special education
the
teachers.
special education teachers, I feel like some of them are
Subpar.
yeah.
Well, they
but,
get like specialized training, but that does raise a different question though. Like as far as like all teachers, like they should have
Mhm.
generalized training for special
Mhm.
needs and disabilities.
Mhm.
And
at least it helped them understand better like why certain kids are asking certain things or acting certain ways.
Well, and I also think too, like they should be taught how to recognize the signs, which I'm sure they are to a point. But I think that like the U.S. education system is so fucky, and there's no universal curriculum, so there's no like thing that every college has to like follow. You know what I
Right.
mean?
But
Like,
there
it's all different.
Should be.
Right.
There should be.
And
Legally.
and like
No,
it's
this
it's
is
so
Patrick.
it's so frustrating. Like y'all are frustrating. Anyway, no, it's so frustrating though. Like I know the struggles. Like I can see it when the teachers, like when I go to pick up my son and they get frustrated. Like I understand that.
Right.
But it's like you can't do that. You can't do that.
Well, also, I don't know if we were gonna touch on like the protection of other children's information.
Yeah.
So, as we all know, HIPAA is the healthcare Bible,
It's literally Jesus.
and I don't know if they have one of those for childcare.
I don't think so.
But what you told me yesterday was very alarming. Like I did not like that.
I honestly think they should have like more education on like almost childcare too, because it's like when you're like an adult, it's easier to like recognize when something's kind of off, and usually you can verbalize it better than a
Right.
child can. So it would be better if you were able to recognize those certain like
Mhm.
attributes, symptoms, whatever
Right.
you want to call them, so that way you can, I guess, acclimate to it is the right word, maybe.
Yeah.
Just make more sense.
No, it does. But
Especially if you've been in a PEDS unit.
Right.
Them kids can be crazy.
And at least like if you've taken the time to talk to the parents and they refuse to do anything with that information, like your part's done. At least you've done your part. But it frustrates me when there are teachers who are like, oh yeah, that kid is obviously special needs, but I can't say that to the teacher. Or the parent. That's rude. Well, yeah, saying that to the parent is rude, but there's a nice way to go about it.
I was going to say,
Right.
saying it in the tone that they were thinking it is
Right,
rude.
like,
if you
hey.
literally came to a parent and were like, hey, I really think that we should sit down and talk about some of the behaviors that your child is displaying, it leads me to believe that they may be special needs.
Mm-hmm.
Or they may like have this or this, like maybe they're a little ADHD or something, or maybe they have high anxiety.
But honestly, depending on the parent, no matter how the teacher says it to them, some of them are going to be like, oh, okay, thanks for bringing that to my attention. And other ones are going to be like, you bitch. Like,
right. So, like, one of the really frustrating things with my son, so his IEP was set up right away when he entered school. But when he was enrolled in the daycare, it's all the same building, but it's like separated by obviously the district and the daycare. Apparently they're not allowed to like talk because there's like a confidential issue. I would have had to sign a release or whatever for them to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really weird because they're literally working together. But anyway, so for the first like month or so when my son went there, his daycare teacher was not aware that he had ADHD, but his 4K teacher obviously was. And I was so upset by that because when I enrolled him, I made sure to tell the person that we toured with, the person that we signed all the paperwork with. And then on his first day, I reminded them again when I dropped him off that he had ADHD and to please let the teacher in his classroom know because I had not met the teacher in his classroom yet. And so I remember the first time this all like started kind of coming to light where they were having issues with him, not knowing how to deal with him. And I was like, well, have you read his IEP? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, yeah, he's got ADHD. Like, you know that, right? And she was like, oh, well, the IEP is just for school. Like, we're not allowed to read those because it's only for school. And I was like, but there's stuff in there that will help you take care of him. And she was like, well, I kind of figured he had ADHD, but she was like, I wasn't going to say that because that's rude. And I'm like, so if he hadn't been diagnosed and he wasn't like on an active treatment plan, like what, you were just gonna
keep that from me?
Yeah. Right. Like obviously I'm aware my child has ADHD. He's been showing symptoms since he was 18 months. I'm aware. Like that is crazy because there are parents in that actual situation.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, some parents like don't know it all. So
yeah.
Well, the background in healthcare again, like it helps.
So between the background in healthcare and then obviously myself having ADHD and then my husband having ADHD, and then so when my son started showing symptoms, it was very, very, very similar to my husband's little brother. Like, my husband saw so many like similarities and so many things that my son was doing that just like brought him back to those moments. And he was like, okay, it's like, we knew right away, even before he had seen his doctor about it, even before he got tested, like, the first thing that ever like seriously made us question was when my son was 18 months old and like out of nowhere, we were just playing, we were having fun. And then all of a sudden he banged me so hard with his head that my nose started bleeding. And it was just like out of nowhere. And then he just like went back to playing. And then like a second later, he just starts screaming, crying. And so that was kind of the first time ever that I was like, okay, something's not right. And then just thing after thing after thing after thing. And so, like, yeah, we knew.
Lord.
We knew. But I mean, for some people, that might just be kids being kids. Like, they might not look into it and think this means something.
Well, they're just having a meltdown. Like,
I mean, and kids do. Like, that's true too. All children do. But some meltdowns are worse than others. And
I was gonna say, like, the severity of the one that you described is very different to like a normal child.
Right. Well, and like, you know, when my son was going through his terrible twos, it was like terrible twos times 6,000.
Oh,
Because
You're just terrible all the time, aren't you? Yeah, you are.
it was just, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just constant behaviors all the time. But it wasn't even, it was choices that he was making, kind of, sort of, but not really. To a point.
She just wants to be included.
I swear though, like some days I feel like she's just gonna lick my skin right off. She
Yeah.
just doesn't stop.
She's just tasting you for later when we die.
Valid.
I mean, actually, dogs don't really do that as
No,
much.
that's cats.
That's mostly cats. Yeah, they'll eat you like right away.
Yep.
That's unsettling.
Just took me back to those sad dog videos of their owner being buried and they're just laying on the grave.
And then cats are like, let me just eat you.
Yeah,
Let me consume your flesh.
Dog is like,
that's because
I can't live without you.
That's-
That's like, let me
yeah.
just eat you.
that's because dogs are like, oh, I love you so much, I can't live without you, and cats are like, worship me.
Basically.
Can't have you later.
Anyways, is there anything else we want to cover?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's just, I don't know, parents, do your research.
Yeah. Excuse me. That was something.
Anyways, you can email us at bossravioliqueens@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook,
That's it.
at Boss Ravioli Queens.
Don't
No
forget to
spaces.
like and subscribe.
Like
Hit
and
that
subscribe.
notification bell.
Love us.
Ding. Ding.
Love us, don't love us. Just get some interaction. Good or bad.
Give us money.
Bye.
Bye.